Imagine a world where your emotions are like passing clouds, constantly changing and never imprisoning you. This is the story of Ba, a Tibetan man who lives simply but with great wisdom. Whenever anger overtakes him, Ba runs 3 laps around his house. This action not only helps release negative energy, but also serves as a method for him to calm down and reflect on the situation more clearly. Over the years, Ba accumulated a lot of wealth and land. However, what is remarkable is the change in the way he perceives his emotions. He realized that anger holds no value when he already possesses so much. Anger, which is merely a temporary reaction, becomes meaningless in the face of the abundance and inner peace he has achieved. Ba's story is not only a lesson in emotional control, but also a vivid demonstration of the Buddhist principle of impermanence. Everything changes and nothing is permanent. This story lays the foundation for us to explore human emotions and how Buddhism provides profound insights to tame them. By viewing emotions as passing clouds, we can learn not to let them control our lives. Welcome to the Wondrous Dharma YouTube channel. In this video, we will delve into the basic principles of Buddhism, from impermanence to the concept of no-self, to understand how we can apply these principles to our daily lives, creating a more peaceful and liberated existence. 1. The transience of human emotions. The journey of Ba illustrates a fundamental truth. Human emotions are fleeting. Throughout his life, Ba accumulated a lot of wealth and land. However, the remarkable thing is that as his assets increased, his perspective on anger and other emotions also changed. Initially, whenever anger took over, Ba would run 3 laps around his house to calm down. Over time, he realized that anger held no value when he already possessed so much. Instead of letting emotions control him, he chose to control his emotions. Ba's story highlights a central theme in Buddhist teachings: the impermanence of emotions. Our emotions come and go, influenced by external circumstances and internal states. Anger can flare up when someone insults us, but it will dissipate like smoke when we realize that the words do not truly affect our worth. Similarly, the joy of achieving success is temporary, and that euphoric feeling fades as we face new challenges. Reflecting on my experiences, I find that emotions often lose their intensity over time. Moments of anger, disappointment, or even joy do not last forever. Acknowledging this transience can help us navigate the ups and downs of life more easily. For example, there was a time when I felt very disappointed when a project I was passionate about was rejected. Initially, this emotion felt like a storm within me, but over time and through inner reflection, I realized that this rejection was not the end but just part of the journey. This realization helped me stay calm and objectively reassess my goals. Moreover, the transience of emotions is also evident in moments of happiness. When achieving a significant milestone, the feeling of satisfaction and joy is overwhelming. But then, that emotion gradually fades as we get used to the success and start seeking new goals. This shows that both positive and negative emotions do not last forever. Understanding the impermanent nature of emotions helps us avoid being swept away by the emotional whirlwind and maintain calmness and clarity in all situations. By viewing emotions as passing clouds, we can learn not to let them control our lives. Instead of reacting impulsively to temporary emotions, we can find peace and stability in accepting and understanding the fleeting nature of emotions. This is also one of the important lessons in Buddhist teachings, helping us move closer to enlightenment and liberation. 2. Buddhism and the 8 sufferings. Buddhism teaches that life is fundamentally marked by 8 types of suffering: birth, aging, illness, death, encountering the unpleasant, parting from loved ones, not attaining what one desires, and the instability of body and mind. These sufferings are inherently tied to human existence and manifest the concept of impermanence, a core principle in Buddhist philosophy. By recognizing and understanding these inevitable aspects of life, we can foster a more resilient and balanced mindset. The first suffering in the 8 sufferings, birth, is not merely the physical act of being born, but also symbolizes the beginning of life's challenges. From the moment we are born, we face a series of experiences that shape our existence, including both joy and pain. Aging is an unavoidable aspect of life. As we grow older, our bodies and minds gradually weaken. This natural process often brings anxiety and fear, emphasizing our attachment to youth and vitality. Illness, whether physical or mental, is a common experience that underscores our fragility. It reminds us of the temporary nature of health and the body. Death, the ultimate end of life, represents the deepest suffering. The fear of death and the unknown is a fundamental human concern that profoundly influences our behaviors and decisions. Encountering the unpleasant and parting from loved ones are daily sufferings that everyone can relate to. Whether facing difficult people, experiencing unwanted situations, or losing a loved one, these experiences test our patience and resilience. Not attaining what one desires is another form of suffering rooted in desires and attachments. When expectations are not met, we feel disappointment and frustration, reinforcing the notion that desire is the root of suffering. Lastly, the instability of body and mind, often referred to as the suffering of imbalance, includes the continuous fluctuations of physical and mental states. Our bodies age and change, while our minds are in a constant state of flux, filled with fleeting thoughts, emotions, and desires. Recognizing this instability can help us develop detachment and equanimity. Consider the story of Siddhartha Gautama, who later became known as the Buddha. Born into a royal family, Siddhartha was shielded by his father from the harsh realities of life to protect him from suffering. He lived a life of luxury, unaware of the existence of illness, aging, and death. However, this sheltered life could not last forever. One day, out of curiosity, Siddhartha ventured outside the palace and witnessed for the first time the realities of human suffering. He saw an old man, a sick person, a corpse, and an ascetic monk. These sights profoundly impacted him, as he realized that suffering is an inescapable part of life. This realization marked a turning point in his life. The comfort and luxury of royal life suddenly seemed meaningless in the face of the profound truths he discovered. These encounters with suffering led Siddhartha to abandon his royal life in search of a path to end suffering. He embarked on a spiritual journey, practicing severe asceticism and meditation in search of enlightenment. After many years of rigorous practice and self-denial, Siddhartha eventually attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. He realized that the key to overcoming suffering lies in understanding its causes and cultivating the middle path and mindfulness. Understanding the 8 sufferings in Buddhism can profoundly change how we perceive and face life's challenges. By recognizing that suffering is a natural part of human existence, we can approach life's difficulties with greater acceptance and less resistance. This perspective fosters resilience and helps us maintain a balanced mindset, even in adversity. Looking back on my own life, I find that acknowledging the impermanence of everything, including suffering, has helped me navigate difficult times with calmness and clarity. For example, when facing a major failure or loss, instead of falling into despair, I remind myself that this moment of suffering, like everything else, is temporary. This awareness does not eliminate the pain, but provides a context that makes it more bearable and less overwhelming. By integrating Buddhist wisdom into daily life, we can develop a sense of peace and deeper understanding. This awareness not only helps us cope with personal suffering, but also enhances our compassion and empathy for others. Recognizing that everyone experiences these fundamental sufferings, we become more connected and supportive of each other on our human journey. 3. Emotions as illusions. A fascinating experiment with monkeys revealed a thought-provoking truth. Joy is merely an illusion. In this experiment, scientists trained monkeys to receive a juice reward whenever they performed a specific action correctly. However, The interesting part was that the joy the monkeys felt was not because of the juice itself, but because of the brain's reaction when it saw the light indicating the reward was coming. When the light turned on, the monkeys' brains released dopamine, a chemical that creates a feeling of happiness, even before they actually got to drink the juice. This suggests that true joy does not come from material rewards, but from the brain's anticipation and reaction. Similarly, humans often pursue happiness by achieving goals and desires in life. We set targets like buying a house, getting promoted, or achieving personal milestones, hoping that reaching these will bring happiness. However, in reality, like the monkeys in the experiment, we often find that joy lies in the anticipation and the process of achieving the goal rather than in the final result. Once the goal is achieved, the feeling of happiness typically fades quickly, leaving us with a void and the pursuit of new objectives. I have had similar experiences in my life. I often find that the anticipation of an event brings more joy than the event itself. For example, when planning a trip, the excitement and anticipation before the journey always fill me with energy and enthusiasm. However, when the trip actually takes place, although still enjoyable, the exhilaration does not seem as intense as during the anticipation. After the trip, the joy gradually fades, and I start looking for a new goal to look forward to. This realization aligns with the Buddhist perspective that true happiness comes from within, not from external rewards. Buddhism teaches that all emotions are illusions, existing only temporarily and incapable of bringing lasting happiness. True happiness is a state of mind, achieved through mental training and eliminating desires and attachments. Consider the life of Buddha Shakyamuni. Before becoming a Buddha, he was Prince Siddhartha Gautama, living in a luxurious palace with all material comforts. However, he found that despite having everything, he did not feel true happiness. This realization about the impermanence of material joys drove him to leave the palace in search of enlightenment. On his journey to enlightenment, the Buddha went through numerous challenges and rigorous practices. But through these hardships, he realized that happiness does not come from external sources, but from profound understanding and control of the mind. This led him to find eternal happiness and teach others the path to true happiness. Both the Buddha's story and the experiment with monkeys highlight an essential point. Happiness does not come from material rewards or achieving goals, but from the anticipation and the mind's response. True happiness is a mental state, achieved by understanding the nature of emotions and training the mind. By accepting and understanding the impermanence of emotions, we can find peace and happiness within, not reliant on external conditions. 4. Emotions and natural selection. Emotions are powerful evolutionary tools honed over millennia to ensure human survival. These feelings, whether joy or sorrow, act as guiding forces, driving us to perform actions beneficial not only for ourselves but for all humanity. However, in the context of modern society, the same emotions that once ensured our survival can sometimes become counterproductive. From an evolutionary perspective, emotions like joy and sorrow have served as primal drivers, influencing our ancestors' behavior in ways crucial for survival and reproduction. For instance, joy acted as a reward mechanism. When our ancestors found food, shelter, or a mate, their brains released chemicals like dopamine and serotonin, creating feelings of happiness and satisfaction. These positive emotions reinforced essential behaviors such as hunting, gathering, and social bonding. Conversely, negative emotions like fear, anger, and sadness alerted our ancestors to threats and challenges, prompting them to take necessary actions to avoid danger and increase their chances of survival. Imagine a prehistoric man named Grug, living tens of thousands of years ago. Every day, Grug's main concern was finding food and ensuring his family's safety. One day, Grug discovered a forest full of fruits. The joy and excitement of finding food overwhelmed him. This positive emotion drove Grug to gather as many fruits as possible, ensuring his family had enough to eat for the coming days. The satisfaction and happiness he felt reinforced this behavior, making him more likely to seek similar opportunities in the future. This cycle of reward and reinforcement was crucial for survival in the harsh and unpredictable environment our ancestors faced. However, as Grug's life shows, these emotions were context-dependent. In his world, joy was directly linked to tangible rewards essential for survival, such as food and safety. These emotions served their purpose well, ensuring that he and his loved ones could survive and thrive in a challenging environment. Fast forward to today, the context of human existence has changed significantly. Modern humans, unlike their cave-dwelling ancestors, often seek joy and satisfaction through accumulating material wealth and achieving accomplishments. While the pursuit of wealth and social status can still stimulate the brain to release feel-good chemicals, these modern rewards do not always bring lasting satisfaction. Consider someone in today's society who works hard to buy a new car. The anticipation and joy of owning the car bring immense pride and happiness. However, this joy is often fleeting. As the novelty wears off, the person may find themselves yearning for the next big goal or achievement to recreate that feeling of happiness. This cycle of temporary satisfaction and longing can lead to a state of prolonged dissatisfaction, where true and lasting happiness seems elusive. This phenomenon can be understood as an evolutionary mismatch. Our brains and emotions evolved in a world where survival depended on tangible and immediate rewards. In the modern world, where many of our basic needs are easily met, these emotional mechanisms can sometimes lead us to pursue goals that do not truly enhance our happiness. The joy of owning a new gadget or the sorrow of missing out on a promotion are mere echoes of the primal emotions that once guided our ancestors through survival situations. Looking back at my personal experiences, I often notice this pattern in my life. The excitement of purchasing a new tech gadget or achieving a career milestone brings temporary happiness, but then quickly fades, leaving me searching for the next source of joy. This realization aligns with the Buddhist view that true happiness comes from within and is not dependent on external rewards. By understanding the evolutionary origins of emotions, we can begin to cultivate a more mindful and balanced approach to happiness. Understanding the evolutionary basis of emotions can help us navigate modern life more effectively. By recognizing that our brains are wired to seek short-term rewards, we can make conscious choices that promote long-term well-being. For example, instead of pursuing material wealth, we can focus on building meaningful relationships, practicing gratitude, and engaging in activities that promote personal growth and fulfillment. In summary, while emotions are evolutionary tools designed to ensure our survival, they can sometimes mislead us in the context of modern society. By understanding the origins and functions of emotions, we can learn to manage them more effectively and pursue a path to true and lasting happiness. The story of the prehistoric man Grug, along with lessons from modern psychology and Buddhism, reminds us that while the pursuit of joy is a fundamental aspect of being human, the key to lasting fulfillment lies in understanding and mastering our emotions, rather than being controlled by them. 5. Buddhism and modern psychology. The book, Why Buddhism is True by Robert Wright uses evolutionary psychology to explain Buddhist philosophy, particularly the principles that help humans achieve happiness and inner peace. Wright argues that we can attain positive mental states without relying on supernatural beliefs such as reincarnation or karma. Instead, he uses science and evolutionary theory to explain how Buddhist practices can influence our minds and emotions. Wright argues that understanding how the human mind works, especially the emotional responses and behaviors shaped by evolution, can help us achieve greater happiness. He suggests that our emotions are not merely the result of personal experiences, but are also products of millions of years of evolution. Emotions like fear, anxiety, and even joy have roots in human survival and reproduction needs. However, in the modern world, many of these emotions can become inappropriate or harmful. One interesting story Robert Wright shares is about a retreat where participants are encouraged to confront their thoughts and feelings without being distracted by the outside world. During this retreat, participants must remain completely silent, refrain from using phones, not read books, and not interact with others. The goal is to fully focus on observing and understanding their minds. In the early days, many people felt uncomfortable and anxious facing their thoughts and emotions without any means of escape. They realized that often, the busyness of external life is just a way to avoid facing inner turmoil. However, over time, as they grew accustomed to meditating and observing their minds, they began to notice that their emotions were only temporary. Feelings of anxiety, fear, and sadness gradually disappeared, replaced by inner peace. In my personal experience, I have also participated in similar retreats. Initially, facing my thoughts and feelings without any distractions was a significant challenge. Negative thoughts and worries seemed to become stronger when there was nothing to divert my attention. However, over time and with patience, I learned to accept and observe them without being drawn in. I realized that, like clouds passing across the sky, our emotions are also temporary and will disappear if we do not cling to them. Robert Wright's book offers a modern and scientific perspective on Buddhist philosophy, helping us understand that happiness and inner peace do not need to rely on supernatural beliefs. Instead, by understanding the nature of the mind and emotions, we can achieve positive and sustainable mental states. The story of the retreat is a clear example that facing and understanding our emotions can help us find true inner peace and happiness. 6. The ultimate lesson of Buddhism, anatta, or non-self. One of the most profound and transformative teachings of Buddhism is the concept of non-self, known as anatta in Pali. This principle challenges the common belief that we possess a fixed, eternal self or soul. Instead, Buddhism teaches that what we consider self is actually a collection of ever-changing physical and psychological components. Our thoughts, emotions, sensations, and perceptions are temporary and do not constitute a permanent identity. Understanding and embracing the concept of anatta can have a liberating effect on our psychology. It helps us perceive our thoughts and emotions for what they truly are, temporary states that come and go. This realization can free us from the control of negative emotions and guide us toward lasting peace and contentment. In daily life, we often strongly identify with our thoughts and emotions. When we feel happy, we think, "I am happy." When we feel sad, we think, "I am sad." This identification with emotional states can lead to significant fluctuations where our self-worth and stability are constantly affected by changing emotions. However, Buddhism teaches that these thoughts and emotions do not define us. They are like clouds passing across the sky, constantly changing and impermanent. Embracing the idea of anatta has been a transformative experience in my life. By recognizing that thoughts and emotions are not my true self, I have been able to detach more easily from negative feelings. For example, when I feel overwhelmed by stress or anxiety, I remind myself that these emotions are temporary. They do not define who I am, and they do not have the power to control my actions. This mindset helps me approach challenges with calmness and clarity, knowing that my true self is not affected by the fluctuations of emotions. The concept of anatta can be practically applied in many ways to enhance our well-being. One effective method is mindfulness meditation. By practicing mindfulness regularly, we train the mind to observe thoughts and emotions without attachment. We learn to see them as fleeting phenomena rather than fixed parts of our identity. This practice helps us develop a deeper understanding of the impermanent nature of all mental states and nurture a sense of inner peace. Another practical application is self-reflection and journaling. By writing down our thoughts and emotions, we can gain an overview of their impermanence. This process helps us recognize patterns in our thinking and behavior, allowing us to detach from negative emotional cycles. Through self-reflection, we can cultivate a more balanced and resilient mindset. A historical example illustrating the transformative power of anatta is the story of King Ashoka, one of the greatest emperors of ancient India. Initially, Ashoka was a ruthless king, known for his military conquests and brutal tactics. However, After witnessing the horrific suffering caused by his actions during the Kalinga War, he underwent a profound inner transformation. Deeply affected by the sight of slaughter and loss, Ashoka embraced Buddhism and its teachings, including the concept of anatta. He realized that his identity as a conqueror was not his true self, but merely a temporary role he had assumed. This realization led him to renounce violence and spend the rest of his life promoting peace, compassion, and ethical governance. Ashoka's transformation is a testament to the liberating power of understanding anatta, as it helped him break free from his destructive past and live a life of positive change. The concept of anatta, or non-self, is a cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy, offering profound insights into the nature of our existence. By understanding that thoughts and emotions are not our true selves, we can free ourselves from the cycle of suffering and achieve lasting peace. Embracing anatta helps us detach from negative emotions, approach life's challenges with calmness, and nurture a deeper sense of inner freedom. Integrating the wisdom of anatta into daily life can lead to a more balanced and fulfilling existence. Through mindfulness, self-reflection, and awareness of our impermanent nature, we can navigate the complexities of life more easily and resiliently. Ultimately, practicing anatta will guide us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world, helping us live in greater harmony with ourselves and others. In summary, understanding and accepting the impermanence of emotions can transform our lives. By applying Buddhist principles, we can navigate life's challenges with greater wisdom and peace. Remember Ajahn and his 3 laps around the house. Each step is a reminder that emotions, like everything else, are merely passing phases in life's journey.